Hello, everyone. It's Nick from Claret and Booze, and look who's back. Look who's back, Johnny boy. How you doing, mate? Virgil of the
Yeah,
Marshes.
yeah, I'm all right, mate. You? How you been?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. You've been racking up the hours in the cab, have you?
Yeah, it's been very busy. London's needed me. London's been calling, so London's fifth emergency service. All guns to the, all arms to the guns, all arms to the swords, whatever you call it.
So,
No, it's very busy out there in a minute, and what with general everyday life, I've not been had time really to help with the Claret and Booze. But you and Gary are doing very well.
we're
So
doing very well, mate. You'll be back in the new year a bit anyway, wouldn't you? So,
yeah, no, I'll be back. I'll be back in the new year for sure, more regular. It's just that I'm a bit like Maxwell Cornet. So
yeah,
any sign of a problem, I have to make sure I'm
you do.
100%
Broken
before.
fingernail, anything like that.
Yeah, anything like that, mate.
So,
If I can't,
you had any interesting sort of tips? I know you said you got a big slab of cheese as a tip the other day in the cab.
I got that was a couple of weeks ago now, wasn't it? Very
Yeah.
well. It was a bloody good cheese though. It was from a big top cheese shop called Le Fromagerie.
There's no
in
way you got
Marylebone.
through all that cheese. That was massive. It was one of them big
No,
discs, wasn't it?
it's still in the
Got it.
fridge.
Yeah.
Still in the fridge. But apart from the old money tips, I've had a couple of bottles of wine, bottle of gin, which I gave to Gary.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really, mate. But
Very
yeah,
nice.
it's good.
Very
It's good.
nice.
Everyone's been nice. Everyone's been happy.
Are you driving around a cab? You got a Santa hat on or anything like that? You sort of a bit of tinsel in the cab?
No.
No?
You bought the last massive Santa hat, so there's none for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right. Well, what we're going to talk about today, people, is we was going to go straight into the Arsenal preview and just sort of look ahead to that, give our thoughts on that game, what we're expecting. But before we do, I'm not going to bore you to tears with it because I did my video on David Moyes on his interview on TalkSport the other day. So I've made John watch the latest David Moyes sort of PR stunt. Well, I don't think it's David Moyes. I think it's enforced because when you think about it logically, we've had nothing from David Moyes, not a peep out of him for 4 weeks. I mean, he went on holiday, he come back with the games. He was avoiding the press conferences. He weren't. It was a Billy McKinley when he's been sort of going in and talking to the press after the games and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, we've had 3 interviews in feels like as many days from him,
Yeah.
and they're almost. If you didn't hear the TalkSport one, the one that you've just listened to, it was almost like listening to the same thing. It was almost word for word. It was fucking bizarre. So it's almost like it's been scripted for him. But I'll leave it with you. Everyone's heard what I think about it, John. What are your thoughts on it, mate?
It's the same old story, isn't it? It's the same as. Do you remember the interview he did in regards to transfers and he thanked
Yeah.
everybody and all that? To me, I don't know if he's contractually obliged to do these sort of things because for me, as a man of his age, right, he's been around the block a long time. He just looks and feels so unnatural for him to be doing something like that. It's like trying to explain, what he's going to do. He's not even doing that. He's just saying how well
It doesn't look like he enjoys doing it, does he?
No, and that's the thing that baffles me is that unless he's contractually obliged to do it, would he not just say no?
Well, he will
I
be.
mean,
He will
can
be
he say no?
He will be contractually obliged to do that
What
type of thing.
contractually obliged to basically paraphrase or just read out a script?
To gaslight everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem I've got with it. I mean, I had a problem with when he did the interview in regards to the transfers previously last year, whatever it was. Look, I know everyone knows my take on it. I like David Moyes, but when he does these sort of things, it frustrates me because to me, it's not him. It's not him speaking. He is. It's a PR stunt. I agree with you, and it's so glaringly obvious that he's unnatural doing it. He's not happy doing it. Well, he's happy doing it, but he don't look comfortable doing it.
Yeah,
and it just seems scripted by the PR team to me, and it's really disappointing. And I was disappointed with the one he did before, and it really disappoints me because I just don't see the need for it. I genuinely don't see the need for it. What is the point of it apart from trying to appease the fans? And that means it's coming from above, innit? Because they can feel the rumbles, people getting, concerned about the current situation. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth for me, mate.
Is it going to appease the fans though? Because I mean, if you look at the because if you look at the title of the video as well, which is "We're not fighting relegation, we're fighting for Europe."
Well, we are.
But no, what I mean is, but do you not think that in a sense they're almost kind of, because I can't believe that he is that deluded. Like you say, it feels like it's been scripted. It feels like there's been a PR session. This is what you got to say. This is a message that you got to deliver. This is what you got to do. This is how you got to peddle it. It's my only justification for it. I can't believe he's not my favourite person, as you know. I can't believe that he is that fucking that. I can't believe that. So it's almost like it is like a duty that he's been given that he's got to do to fulfil as part of his role.
No, but the title. Look, the title of the video, if you like, you could spin it and say it's positive. And what I mean by that is it could be him saying, I know we're down there at the minute, but I don't believe we're going to be in a relegation battle. We're going to pull away from it. Positive. Yeah. And we are fighting on the European front, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but if he said that, if he was to come out and have said it, because my point is the way. Because he kind of never admits that there is a problem. He makes excuses, so he'll admit there's injuries, he'll admit there's this, but he'll never admit there's a problem. Do you not think that he would be given more credit? I certainly would give him more credit. I don't actually know what I'd say. I think it'd be like, oh, fuck, fair enough, because I'm not horrible. If he came out and said, it hasn't worked this year, it's gone wrong. He ain't even got to say we're in a relegation battle. We can say, we're in danger. We're in danger of being pulled into a relegation battle. We've got to improve. We know this. We have to improve. If he was to come out with that line and just be honest, then I think that fans might give him a bit of a chance. But when they come out and they try and they do a puff piece and they try and pull the wool over your eyes, it feels like a little bit. That I think is the wrong tact, because we're not stupid. We're not stupid.
No, look, fans ain't stupid, and the table don't lie. Blah blah blah.
No.
But the thing is that he has admitted, he has in some ways admitted the problems, isn't he? He alluded to since January we've been poor in the league. We've had some fairly good nights. He alluded to the fact we're not scoring enough goals.
Yeah.
He alluded to the fact that a lot of the new signings
He did. But when he said about January, John, he then caveated that with the excuse we didn't have a big squad. We struggled with players. Yes,
but that was his own doing.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, I know. I know. But nothing he said there was anything that none of us have said along the way. No, nothing. There was nothing in that video that made me sort of feel galvanised. There was nothing in that video that made me. That surprised me, and that's why I don't really see the relevance of it, because he literally said what we know has been going on, and that's what. Look, the PR team are crap at what they do. We know the West Ham PR team, the marketing team, whatever they are, the advertising, they make so many mistakes. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them in terms of, I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think a lot of them probably know much about football. And the thing is that he's being used as the puppet to get across the message of the club, which is everything's okay. Look, I want it to turn around. We all do.
Yeah.
And I'd rather that be with Moyes than anyone else, purely because, if we start again, it's another 2 years, but that will probably happen anyway, because I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he's going to get us out of a situation to some extent. Yeah. I hope, but the expectation isn't there for me. And you could say it's pulling the wool over your eyes, but not if you're an idiot.
This is what I mean. It doesn't pull the wool over your eyes. It doesn't, because I think West Ham fans, especially, it's probably not West Ham fans. I think football fans in general, we get the game. We do. We're and I don't apart from Spurs fans, fuck them. But I just think it was sloppy. I think it's really sloppy. It just proves that they can't read the room. They don't understand the fan base. They're very out of touch. Because it was wrong. And like I said to you, I think if there was a level of honesty when he came out, for a start, I would rather he didn't do the interview in the first place and he just did his talking on the pitch. But if you're going to do it,
he's contractually obliged to, so you can't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're going to come out, be honest, and just like I say to you, but you could do that. You could come out and say, look,
you can't.
No.
If it's scripted for him.
No. He doesn't have to agree to read a scripted piece. He can say, I'll do my contractual obligations. But if I'm going to do an interview, I'll do an interview. He hasn't got to do that. There's no way anyone would sign up to that. You know, otherwise he could read out anything, couldn't he?
Yeah, no, I get that.
But yeah, I just think if he'd have come out and been, because he could have spun it in a way that we couldn't argue with. He could have said, you know, I came in, you know, we was in a precarious situation, kept us up, followed up with 2 fantastic seasons, and I had massive high hopes for this season. The board have invested big, and so far we've not delivered. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked so far this season. But you know, I hope the fans can stick with me. It's not going very well. The players are doing everything they can. We're trying different things to get the new players into the team. If he was to sort of go along those lines, but the issue is, and the messaging, and this is what bothers me, John, is from his messaging, which is all about. He's not alluding to the fact that he's making mistakes. He alludes to the fact that we're unlucky, and that to me says that he's not going to change anything. He's not going to change the way he's doing things, because if he thought he was wrong and he thought that what he was doing was wrong, then do you know what I mean? He would say so, but he hasn't said that at all. He's not gone that way.
No,
he hasn't said it's my fault.
How many people would come out and say I'm doing wrong here, I'm doing wrong there? You know, I mean, the fact of the matter is, by admitting what our problems are, that is in effect admitting that he's
admitting failure. He's admitting failure. Yeah.
Well, no, not failure. He's admitting he's making mistakes, because if he can't look. You know, there was a piece in that where he came out with the fact that we had to bring in 9 new players, or we signed 9 new players, and he said, you know, that's not the amount of players you would want to bring into a team and try and fit them into a team, and you know, all fit together perfectly well and get them up and running up to speed as quick as you can. You know, that is I agree, that's of his own doing, because of the lack of transfer window activity in January. But if you look at Newcastle. Look how many players that they've brought in.
They're brought in 9 players.
Brought in more than us.
They've brought in nine players, and they've bedded them in. And they brought in 5 players in January, and they accumulated twice the points that we did in January. Straight away, bang in. So I don't get all the bedding in bollocks.
No. But what I'm trying to show you there is, by talking about these mistakes or failures or whatever, he is actually highlighting that it's.
Yeah, I know.
Without saying it, he's saying it.
Yeah.
Whether he's meaning to or not. Because if you come out with something like that, and then you look across or up north to teams like Newcastle who have brought in as many, if not more, you think, well, you know, you can just prove him wrong almost. So what I'm trying to say is, by even mentioning these little...
Only if you're David Moyes, only if you don't think that the fans are fools. And I don't know that... The club, especially, I think they do. I mean, just by way of their PR strategy, I think they do think we're fucking idiots.
Because the PR team, in my mind, the PR team, look, we've seen it. We've seen how many tweets have they made mistakes before? I know. That, right? And this is what I'm trying to say to you is, if you've got a team of PR people who are wet behind the ears, straight from university, which I may be wrong, they might not be, not really into football, these videos with Moyes only get made when the fan base at the end of their tether.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying to you. So they're not doing it because they feel the need to. They're doing it because they feel under pressure from what they're seeing on social media elsewhere, i.e. when he made the last video about the transfer
window.
And he came out and said, oh, well done to Brady, Gold and Sullivan. And Brady was on a boat in the Bahamas or somewhere at the time.
I know.
So what I mean is, these videos only get made when they can feel the pressure coming from the fans, or the heat coming from the fans. And there's no other reason for it.
And you can see it because it's all coordinated. So if you look at the timing of the videos from Moyes, you will also see, we all know the sources very well. Some of us, the sources that are close to the club that do pump the narrative out, they've all been out in force, pumping out stories, you know, pro Moyes, pro this, pro that. There's channels as well. Everyone, it seems like they're synchronised at the moment in sort of trying to deliver the same message. What did you think of the you know, the video at the stage? Do you know the video when you click on it? And the intro video was we've got super David Moyes at the start of the video. It was good, wasn't it? It was quite funny. But like I say, I was raging yesterday, but
you know what? I don't know why you rage, because to me it just makes me laugh, because I just think, wow, how pathetic does this look? It's terrible. You know what? It's so bad. And it's such, you know, the Super David Moyes thing and all that. And, and look, I've sung that song, and people still sing that song, and that's fine.
But what I mean is to play that at the start of that video.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. It's so obvious.
It's like they're trying to piss people off.
No, it is actually cringe.
I know.
It's absolutely like, oh, fucking hell, really? Like, it's like you couldn't do it any more cheesier if you tried. And that's the thing that I don't get. That's why they can't be football people, this PR lot. They cannot be football
No, they really
people.
are. They really are, you know.
Yeah, but come on.
They're fucking graphics designers, aren't they?
It's ridiculous. It's just embarrassing. And to be honest with you, mate, I genuinely think, I mean, what is Moyes? In his 60s, isn't he?
Yeah.
He must feel a little bit embarrassed doing these things. He must feel, I'm telling you, mate, he's been in the game 40 plus years. He must, I know he has to do it to some extent, but he must be like, fucking hell, really?
Well, I didn't make it to the end of the TalkSport interview, but on the video that I did yesterday, Trudge commented, and he said at the end, it was telling. He said you could see how uncomfortable he was, and he just wanted to get out of there. He said you could see it.
But that's what I'm saying to you. He's not comfortable in these things. He's not that type of manager.
No.
He's not a modern day manager who's comfortable with the cameras around him like a Klopp would be or a Guardiola would be.
Yeah.
You know, and look, he's not an idiot. He knows we're not doing well on the results side at the minute. And he's having to come out like he did with a transfer video last year and just be used as a puppet. And that's embarrassing. He must look, he might not be, but he must be a little bit embarrassed with it all.
Yeah, I would he must be. He's got to be.
Was the video sorry, I haven't listened to the interview with TalkSport. Was it
that was worse. That was with Simon Jordan, and you could tell.
Was it Jim White again?
You could tell that it was. You could tell it was scripted, and all of the questions were screened because Simon Jordan is an arsehole. So if anyone's going to ask awkward questions, no. What I mean is, if he would normally ask the questions that the fans want asked. Yeah. He would normally sort of grill the person and put them on the spot, but there was none of that. It was kind of very, very safe. So you could tell it was it was all scripted from start to finish.
Yeah, but it's funny how he's done it on the Jim White show of all shows as well. And we know Jim White's relationship with the two Davids, don't we?
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't say go and listen to it because if you watch that video, you've got the gist of it anyway. There's like I say, it's a fucking wind up to be quite honest. It really is. But yeah. So moving on from that anyway.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing though.
Go on.
I saw more of Maxwell Cornet in that video than I've done all fucking season.
What is going on? What is going on with Cornet? Honestly, do you know they're saying now? What's the message coming out of the club now? They're saying that Billy McKinley put something out. He said, he should be back in the new year.
Mate, I'm not gonna.
What is that all about?
Listen, I'm not gonna pull you up on this, but when we got him, you as well made a bit of a fanfare about this geezer, and you know that I said I do not rate him. He is not cut out for the Premier League. I'm sorry.
He was never my choice, but once we signed him, I was happy we signed him.
You was over the moon with him.
He was never my choice. Go back and have a look. I was aiming much higher than Maxwell Cornet because if you have a look,
he was aiming too high.
No, but you had Maxwell Cornet, and who's the bloke who went to the Watford player, the striker.
Sarr?
No, not Sarr. The other one. Dennis, yeah. There was people that were linking us to him.
Gone, Dennis? Did he go to Leeds?
I couldn't even tell you. He ain't doing much.
I don't even know where he's gone.
Yeah, he ain't doing much. And again, he was one of those players. Those players, and I was saying Sarr, the same thing. Those three, they were good players playing for shit teams, and they were shining. But when we signed Cornet, I was excited that we signed him because I just thought it gives us a bit of pace. Bit of trickery, and to be honest, he does when he plays. I'm not saying he's the most amazing. I think he is. If he was fit and he weren't such an idiot like he is now, it'd be worth £18 million.
Nick, every game I've seen Cornet play, which isn't many, I think maybe 2 or 3 times I've seen him, I think he's gone off injured.
I know.
On all the occasions I've seen him play, literally with the most obscure of challenges.
And if you have a look at his injury record, if you go on Transfer Market and you have a look, because I did do a bit of digging, there's been no real massive bad injuries. They're all nothing injuries, and they keep him out for ages.
Well,
it's nothing.
He's basically a wimp.
And how many of our players, if you look at the likes of Dawson, who was playing for God knows how long on painkillers, you've only got to look at Zuma, who's clearly been playing on a fucking injury for how long? He can hardly walk.
Yeah.
And he's finally gone and got his operation just recently. So you've got players like that. How would that work in a team environment if you're running through the pain barrier, playing on on painkilling injections, and you've got a fucking idiot like that when you're struggling?
Mate, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be gone in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised
If they
at
can
all.
get rid of him, they ain't going to get their money back, are they?
No, I think they'll take a loss on him. I genuinely look. I hope I'm wrong. I hope his injuries will leave and he'll come back and he'll be a shining light.
Yeah.
But the problem, the thing for me is, I'd rather have players like Dawson and Zuma and Rice and Noble and Antonio who just
players
play
with a bit of heart.
through the pain barrier.
Players with a bit of heart. Yeah.
The difference is, it sounds really bad, but a lot of the players we're used to, almost putting their body on the line for us. They're West Ham through and through now.
Yeah.
And even Dawson in his short time there, because someone like Cornet, he did the same with Dyche. I think Dyche said something in an interview, didn't he?
Dyche has said it. Yeah,
Dyche.
Dyche doesn't like him. I think Dyche is along the lines of he feels like he was not helping his cause in any way. He weren't there for him. When the team's struggling, you need all hands on deck, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly that. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
Exactly.
No better saying.
But yeah, so as we know, we're without Maxwell Cornet. He's out nursing a terrible injury, and we've got Scamacca who got poleaxed on the ankle by Diop in the Fulham game.
Yeah, sorry.
By Diop, yeah. I didn't think it was a terrible challenge. A lot of people have been slamming Diop for it.
It was a bad challenge.
It looked a bit clumsy, but it weren't like he didn't go through him with two legs. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a knee-high challenge.
Diop chased back like his life depended on it. He didn't. I've never seen Diop run that quick at West Ham ever.
Yeah.
He ran back. Scamacca was about 20 yards outside of our own area. And he was breaking away. He wasn't going to score. But Diop came out of nowhere, literally put his life on the line, like his life depended on it. It was like he was almost gunning for him. I know that sounds a bit extreme.
You reckon?
Mate, it didn't need to do what he did.
Because I've seen the replays from a few different angles now. Only about two angles because it was a friendly and there weren't that many. And there was no close-ups, but when you saw it, you're right, it was rash.
That's what I mean. There was no need for the ref challenge. It was friendly.
But what I mean is,
your old team.
But what I'm saying is, people are acting like he's gone in with both legs up in the air and gone for his fucking leg. He didn't do that. It was clumsy.
No, it wasn't that. But to me, it was the energy that Diop put in to get him back was just like, wow, hang on a minute. He's not like on the goal line trying to score. It just seemed a bit over the top. But look, things are going to happen. People can get injured at any time. I get that, but.
Have you heard any more on that? Because the last I heard, which was yesterday, was his ankle was so severely swollen after the game, and it's been that swelling has been there for some time. They've still not been able to scan him, so they don't know what the extent of the injury is. Have you read any more? Do you know what's going on with it?
Only what you said in your video, mate. I haven't read much into it. Well, I've been busy, but it something like that. He's a big boy, isn't he, as well?
Yeah. Well, look at the Aguero injury. Look at Aguero, with his ankle.
Sometimes them little niggles can take longer than expected. I mean, Neymar took one in the World Cup, didn't he? And
he got back. He got back pretty quick, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but he wasn't right, was he? They rushed him back just because it was the World Cup. But yeah, look, let's hope it ain't long term, because if it is, then we've got Antonio, and you could be forced to go in a January transfer window and try and get someone in on loan or something like that. I don't know, but. But this is. I've been calling for the fact that we need a third striker for a while, because, you've got you've got one striker. It's bad enough. You've got two strikers. You're not out of the woods, because all you need is for one of those to get injured. You're back to square one.
No, that's it.
Look, I think we need to go into the January transfer window anyway.
I mean, don't forget you have got Bowen, but the issue you've got if you play Bowen in the middle is then who do you play on the right?
Yeah.
If you haven't got Cornet, because obviously we've got no Yarmolenko anymore. So if you haven't got,
talk about Yarmolenko still.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. We haven't got. Did you go? You didn't go to the Fulham game, did you? In the end,
no.
You didn't go,
No,
because apparently Fornell's played somewhere I've never seen him play before. He played in the right wing for a portion of that game, and he looked quite good, which is strange. But look, let's go into the game anyway. Coming into the game against Arsenal, as we know, Arsenal are flying. They really are. I think even if we were, at the top of our game, this is kind of got a. When Arsenal are playing the way they are at the moment, it's got that feeling that you're playing against a team of Man City's level. That's how they're knocking the ball about. That's how they're
Yeah.
taking teams apart. The only thing I would say is this season their team has been built around Jesus, and he's not available. He's injured.
No.
So they've got a very good replacement in Ketia, John, who you really like.
No, I do not really like him. You was like others saying we should get hold of him in the summer.
So tell me what is wrong with Nketiah. Why isn't he a striker to be feared?
Because he's 24 at the end of this season, right?
Yeah.
What has he done?
Well,
what's he done?
He's done nothing really. How many goals has he scored? You looked it up earlier, didn't you?
I looked it up earlier. I think according
was it 17?
Wikipedia,
It was 17 goals, wasn't it?
No. It was 10 goals in 71 games for Arsenal.
Oh, fucking hell.
Right, so, look, I'm only going by Wikipedia, right? So it may not be as updated as some. I think he scored 3 goals on loan at Leeds. Your mate Bielsa obviously didn't fancy him because he hardly played him.
Yeah.
He's gone back to Arsenal. He scores once every 4 months, right, when his name's being questioned or when a contract's nearing the end. Arsenal decided to give him Thierry Henry's number 14, and I think they gave him $100,000 a week. He can't even get in the. He can't even get in the team now. He'll only get in the team because Jesus has gone. And you could say, well, yeah, but he was never going to get in the team over Jesus.
Yeah.
But at 24 years of age, he's done nothing for me. And I don't understand the hype. I mean, you know, if you look at someone like, what's his name? Sacco, the Arsenal winger.
Yeah.
Right? Saka, sorry. That kid has got a humbleness about him. He just gets on with his job. For all the abuse he took in the Euros, right? We know what happened there. He came back. He just got on with things. He's got no arrogance about him. He seems a lovely kid. You've seen the videos he's done. He's
grounded. You know, he's been raised well as well.
Yeah, have you seen the videos he was doing during the World Cup when he was doing like a spelling competition?
Yeah.
He's comes across such a nice lad. Now, don't get me wrong, Nketiah, I don't know much about him, but for me, he's got an air of arrogance about him that is far below what he's achieved in the game. There's nothing wrong with having arrogance. Arrogance is confidence and all that. But for me, I just don't get the hype. And I don't know many Arsenal fans that think he's the next best thing either. So I don't get it.
If you're gonna walk about like you're 10 feet tall, you got to act 10 feet tall, wouldn't you? You got to be able to deliver it. Like Ronaldo. Ronaldo's an arrogant shit, but he can back it up, can't he?
Yeah, and I might be talking out of turn, and Nketiah might be a lovely fella, but
yeah,
I'm judging it by what he does on the pitch, and to be honest with you, it's hardly anything. Now, I know against us, he's probably going to play against us on Boxing Day, and he'll probably bloody score now. But you know, in the
his annual goal, he'll get against us.
I don't rate him. I don't rate him, mate. And you wanted him.
I would have taken anyone at the time after Haller went.
Anyone. Mate, he's done nothing.
He would have been better than no one, though, wouldn't he? He would have been better than no one at that point. You know, I'm not saying he was never my number one target. He's not, but I don't know. I don't know, mate.
I don't fear him. I mean, look, Jesus has gone in at Arsenal and he hasn't scored buckets of goals.
No.
But what Jesus has done at Arsenal is he's become integral. He's become integral in the start of their season they've had. He drops deep. He's like Harry Kane in a lot of ways. He drops very deep and links up and things like that. You find him out wide, in the middle, all over the pitch. He's integral to what they've got and what they've built. The funny thing is I think the World Cup for Arsenal come at a terrible time because now, they're almost having to start again. And that's when the pressure's on because you've got to pick up where you left off 4 or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they've got a few injuries, as we know.
They have indeed, mate. They've got Tommy Asu's out. Smith Rowe, he's not available. There's a few others as well.
Saliba's injured.
No, Saliba's not injured, but he's I say, he was away with a French team. He didn't play. He was a bit like Areola. He was just on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah. But, he'll be back then, won't he?
But he'll be back. But so generally the way they play with a 4-3-3. I believe.
Yeah.
It's not, is it? It's a 4-2-3-1. Because if you look at they normally set up with Ramsdale, Ben White, who he's converted to a right back now. He plays on the right side.
Got sent back from the England squad in disgrace.
Saliba, Gabriel as well. And Tommy Asu normally on the left, but he's injured, so it will be the Scotch fella Tierney. It'll be Tierney on the left hand side. And then obviously you've got Thomas Partey and Xhaka as the two who have been fantastic this year. They've been unbelievable with Odegaard in front, who again a top player. Martinelli and Saka will be fit, so they're the two wide players, and the forward will be Nketiah. So that's.
Do you think Saka will go straight back in?
He will. Yeah, he's played in a few friendlies. They both have. Martinelli and Saka have. So,
because I was watching the Man City game today, and Grealish didn't start, did he? Nor did Foden.
Yeah, they can afford it, can't they? They can afford to. They can afford to do it. I think they'll go straight back in. Arsenal it's going to be as important as this is to us. They've got Man City breathing down their throats. They have got to get off to a winning, and they're going to look at this game at home and think we've fucking got to win this game. We're going to have to win it. They're going to want to get off on a winning start to sort of carry on their title challenge. And I think look, as unhappy as I am with the current situation, and as much as I've lost belief in David Moyes, and as much as I do think that he may be on the verge of losing fractions of that changing room, I think you can tell by the stats. We're bottom of the running stats and everything else. I think you spoke about him earlier on. I think we've got enough characters in our team. The likes of Dawson, the likes of Rice, I think we've got enough players that can rally the troops, get everyone together. Even if that is the case, and David Moyes perhaps might have lost a few players, I think we've got enough big characters in our team that can get people together and just this is a London derby.
Yeah, you need the big characters to step up there.
Yeah,
you need almost that old school mentality of just fucking roaring at people and getting them up to the fight. And in a way, someone like Antonio playing, which it looks like he's going to have to play because obviously there's no one else available. It's a good game for him because he knows what the London derby means, and we know his downfalls as a striker. We know all that, but he's going to be a handful.
He's going to be ideal for this, though, because
hopefully.
Even if the odds are, I want to see a good performance. And the way I'll gauge this performance is kind of in our positioning on the pitch, not so much with our possession stats or anything like that, because quite simply, when Arsenal get the ball, it's difficult to get it off them. They're going to have a higher fucking pass success rate than us. They pass from back to front. They're a very good team, especially this year. But I do want to see us showing some intent. I don't want to see us scared. I want to see us organised. Like you said, I want us to bully them. I want us to crunch into them. Get into them early on. Get into them early on and munch them. Put some horrible players on there. Don't be scared of them. And just try and get out there and rattle them and do something different. I mean, talking about the way that we're going to play, it's really I can't do the graphic on this one.
No,
but talking about it's going to be Fabianski. Fabianski will play left back. It looks like it's going to be Cresswell because he's back in training, so that's good news. So Cresswell's back.
Kehrer right back.
Well, I don't know because Soufal's played in the pre-season games. Soufal has come out and said, "If I don't play, I want to leave." He's been quoted as saying that now.
Yeah, Moyes ain't going to play him just because he said that. Moyes will play him because he deserves it.
He can't really afford to start having players bail on him if he's in a situation where he's got a shrinking squad. I personally,
it's a little bit weak. Right? If
it would be weak of Moyes. I agree with you. I would say bollocks Soufal.
Listen. If those comments are true and Moyes buckles to it, then he will lose the dressing room.
He will, he'll lose the respect. He'll lose the respect to players.
Because the big characters will be like, hang on a fucking minute.
Yeah.
And look, I'll be surprised if Soufal's directly said it exactly how it sounds. I often wonder where did this quote come from? A Czechoslovakian paper?
Yeah, no, it's quoted from Soufal. It's from Soufal. So
from where?
I can't remember the source, but he basically said that David Moyes. I'm upset that I've not been part of the team. Basically said that the manager hasn't explained why. He's not talking to me, and at the end of the day, no. But what I mean is, we've heard this now multiple times. We've heard, you're in it from Soufal that he doesn't talk to the players. You're in it from Vlasic. We've heard it from Krau. We've heard it from multiple players. Johnson, on his podcast that he did a few weeks ago, they said to him, is David Moyes approachable? And he said, well, I wouldn't approach him. And to sort of change tacks very quickly, I'm on the... I heard a podcast on the Hammers Chat Patreon with Anton Ferdinand, who's on there now, and Gio asked him a question about that, about How do you know if you know, how can you quantify if a manager has lost a dressing room? He said, have you been in environments where you have? And he he said, of course I have. But he said generally, no, he said Kirbishley. He said it was Kirbishley. He said, but in that period, he said we had big characters in that team that did what I was talking about earlier on. They rallied the troops, they got them up. He said, you had the likes of Lucas Neal and people like that. But what he said was, he said good coaches. He said good managers have got good coaching setups. They say, you know, it's the coaches that keep it interesting. They have good characters around them. He said the managers have to manage people. He said he didn't say that David Moyes has lost a dressing room. By the way, he wasn't talking about that. But his description of why you lose a dressing room as a manager. He said managers manage people. He said if you can't manage people, you'll lose the respect of the players, and that's how you lose a dressing room. That's what he said. He said if something's going wrong, you've got to be able to talk to them. You've got to be able to manage them. And it is starting to feel. So I almost see, to me, that felt to me, especially with the stories that we've had coming out, that says to me, I don't think we've got a man that can manage people. I don't think we have. I don't think he's a good.
What is he managing then?
Well, no, he's not a good man manager though, John. Look at the way he deals. Look at the way.
But you just said about the Ferdinand thing where he said about the coaches are almost there for that, right?
Yeah.
The good fun. But we've said
the good feeling.
But we've said this before, and it's not. I'm not defending Moyes.
Yeah.
But with Pierce gone, Irving gone, who else went? Bloody Noble obviously retired.
Yeah.
Those are big, friendly characters who you can imagine are good at putting their arm around shoulders. They're strong, you know. And Moyes is a little bit lost now without them. And I've said that. I did that video ages ago where I think, you know, I just think that every manager loses a dressing room in the end.
Yeah.
You know, because when everything's going well, everybody's happy and smiling. Everybody's playing. Even the ones that are playing now and again, they're happy because the results are going well and the fans are on side. When things start going wrong, as much as the players have their right to, you know, question the manager's tactics all of a sudden, or the way that they manage them, or don't talk to them, or things like that, I still think they've got a loyalty to the fan base to pull their weight not doing interviews where they go, "Oh, the manager's this," or blaming the manager all of a sudden.
Well, I'm
not saying he's blameless.
No, look, listen, they should have. But you're talking about somebody. Everyone's got a different character, John. Everyone's got a different character. So if you're a player, say for instance, that's why you've got to give credit to Ben Rama, because Ben Rama appears like he plays for the fans. But if you're someone like Haller, and this isn't criticising Haller, if you're someone like Haller who's being basically ignored by the manager and shit on, and then when he calls on you, you're almost like, fuck off, mate. I think you're going to have characters like that as well, where and that's when you lose people, because everyone needs managing differently. Some people need a rocket up them, some people need an arm around them, you know, and you've got to manage different people differently. And I think he can only manage certain types of people. They've got to be self-driven. He needs self-driven people, ultimately.
Yeah, but if you talk about Ben Rama, then the majority of the fan base were questioning him as well. He has taken a shift.
Moyes hasn't helped him, no, John.
No, I haven't. No, I don't disagree there. But what I'm saying is the difference with Ben Rama this season is the fact that he has almost gone, you know what, I'm going to play for the fans.
Yeah.
Whereas before, he was letting it all get to him, quite, you know, rightly or wrongly. It seems like he's just almost gone, you know what, I want to do this. I deserve to be here. I want to be here. Let's do this for me and the fan base and show them that I'm not, which what we all thought was a bit of a showboat and a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Right? He's been one of our better players this season.
Yeah.
But what I would say to that is he's been one of our better players when the majority of our players have been crap. So he's standing out in a team that at the minute are very much underperforming.
Yeah, he's standing out, or you can say stepping up.
Or stepping up, one or the other.
He's stepping up, and you need players that do that. But anyway, look, let's get back to the team selection, to what we think it's going to be anyway. I mean, it's going to be fucking difficult. I mean, centre-backs, Aguerd should be fit. He should be back. I mean, he was on the bench. Well, he was on the bench in the Morocco game. He was about to. He got ill. The only reason he didn't. He was on the bench and then he got pulled out because he had an illness. So
every player's on the bench. They keep everyone on the bench, and they just for the sake of it. No, I thought no. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but go on.
Well, look. Let's say let's say that Aguero. Well, yeah, you're probably right. Do you think because he ain't even back yet? Apparently, he's not back yet. I think he's back on the 23rd.
Aguero won't play.
Right, so he won't play. So who's the two centre backs?
Well, so then you're going to be going with Dawson and Kehrer, maybe.
Dawson and Kehrer at centre back.
Well, because Zuma's out.
Right.
Ogbonna, I love the geezer, but I don't think he's Premier League anymore.
No.
Although the only thing I'd say about Ogbonna is, for all his lacking of speed, which he probably never had,
he's got passing ability.
At least he's going to have the fight.
He'll have the fight. He's composed. But my thinking about playing, because what I was going to suggest is if we had Aguero back, I would have played Aguero and Kehrer at centre back. And the reason for that is because Arsenal. No, the reason for that, John, is because Arsenal don't play like normal teams. They haven't got the big target man. They're not an aerial threat. They're not an aerial threat. So you play players that are better on the floor, that are quicker, that are more mobile. I think they're more likely to deal with their threat. I mean, you're dealing with Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Nketiah. They're all little.
It's a good point. But I personally, I'll be very surprised if Aguero's available. Very surprised.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So you would call, in that instance, it would be, and I won't disagree with that, Dawson and Kehrer.
Because we've got no other options, really. If Zuma's still out, Aguero's out, Ogbonna's not Premier League available at the minute, or whatever you want to call it. So for me, you've really only got Dawson and Kehrer. And
Kehrer, yeah, that's. I think I would go with that as well. And I think Kehrer is, although Kehrer's made a few ricks, I think he's looked better at centre back than he has at right back. I don't think he's looked great at right back.
Which is odd, isn't it?
I know he ain't looked great at right back. So that will put Soufal at right back. He's looked okay pre-season. He's looked fine. That's fine. So it looks like he's going to get in. Right now the big talking point, John.
It's not a talking point. We're going on about this for 6 months.
No. Because this is where we're going to see. So we're anticipating we're going to have for that midfield. First of all, do you think it's going to be a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3? Do you think he'll change it a little bit?
I'd hope he went 4-2. I'd hope he changed it, but I don't think he will. I think he'll go 4-3-3, mate.
Yeah.
So I know where. You know, we all saw Paqueta in the World Cup, and we know where he looked better. And yes, I've said it, and maybe I think, well, I shouldn't say that. He's playing with better players when he plays for Brazil, let's be honest. And
he's playing in a team that hold the ball.
Yeah. So it's a different scenario. But I think you've got to play him where he looks comfortable, and it isn't where we've been playing him, right? Well, so let's give him a chance.
Again, if we get beat and he doesn't play him there, Moyes is just, again, he's opening himself up to being beat up, because it won't just be us that will see that, John. The people that own the club are not football experts, right? They will probably look at it in a similar way to what a fan would. They will probably look at what was happening in the World Cup, and they'll be asking similar questions. Well, Moyes, he ain't fitting in, but why aren't you playing him where Brazil are playing him? He looked good for them. Why aren't you playing him now? What are you doing? So he's going to get similar questions, because they're not experts. You know, they're just not. For me,
so would you play the 4-2?
No, I would play 4-3, 4-3-3, and the reason for that is because I don't want to play Paqueta in the 10, and I don't want to sit him directly in front of the back four. No, so I would play a midfield 3. With possibly Downs holding and shielding in front. No, I would.
But we know this isn't going to happen.
No. Well, we don't know. He's been using Downs. He's been using him.
I mean, fuck all, mate. Soucek could be back there.
I don't know, but what I would do anyway. I would play with Downs in the middle. I'd play with Rice on the left, which is where he likes to play anyway, and I'd play Paqueta on the right. And that kind of
disagree with that.
Yeah, I'd play him on the right side of the centre, and that gives him it's a box to box role. He's not directly in front of the fucking, so if he gets caught in possession, it's not the end of the world. Because that's my fear. If you play him too deep, he loses the ball a lot.
Yeah. He does. Yeah. But he does lose the ball a lot, but you seem to suggest that we should accept the flair players losing the ball. But anyway, that's another story.
Well, we're going to have to. We paid 50 million for him. We've got to try and find a way of getting the best out of him.
Yeah, but you can't then go... If someone else is a flair player like Benny, we give him a lot of stick for losing the ball. So you've got to give them all the same.
But I think the thing is with Benny, it's not as bad. See, this is what I don't get with Paqueta, and I will say this. With Benny's a player that tries things. You want that from your winger. And if Benny loses a ball at the other end of the pitch, it's annoying, but it's not terminal. It ain't going to. It shouldn't lead to a direct goal scoring opportunity for the other team. But if you're a deep player that takes risks,
You fuck about. Yeah, don't fuck about.
I don't know. Does he take risks or does he just ponder?
Who?
Paqueta. Does he take risks or does he just ponder on the ball?
Well, if you're thinking about it, for us, he's been playing in the 10 role, yeah?
Yeah.
Predominantly.
He does drop deep, though. He does come back.
I just think the pace of the Premier League is something that
you think he struggled with it?
Yeah, a little bit. Look, there's no doubt in his quality. There's no doubt in his flair. But international football is different. You get more space generally and time in international football. It's like a game of chess, isn't it? And he was playing in the French league, which isn't, let's be honest, isn't the best league in the world. It's good standard, but it's where
Payet came from, though.
What's that got to do with the weather?
Well, what I'm saying is, but people say that a lot. He's only playing in the French league. There's been some good players that have come from the French league. There's been a few.
Agreed. But a lot of them have come via the Italian league or the Spanish league as well.
Yeah.
Directly, not directly. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that I just think he dwells on the ball a little bit too much. But I think if you're playing him in his natural position, you're giving him half a chance.
He'll be more comfortable, and I think he'll have more play. And the thing is with Paqueta is not the type of player that's just going to hoof it. If he can't see a pass, he'll hold on to it, or he'll try and carry it, and that's where he gets caught out. I think the deeper he is in the team, I know it sounds silly, the more players he's going to have in front of him.
Yeah.
So the deeper he is in the team, the more players, more targets,
the more options he has.
The more options he has. And he is the type of player. He's capable of dictating the game if he has a good game. He's got a beautiful pass on him. We've seen that. You know, he can really execute a pass. He can see a pass and execute it. I think he's different to what we all thought he was going to be. I don't think any of us knew what we was getting. I thought we was going to be getting like a Lingard type player who could pick the ball up and just run at the defence.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's been spoken about before. I hadn't seen a great deal of him. I don't watch a lot of games involving the Brazilian national team anyway. But and when he played against us for Lyon, he wasn't that standout either, was he? But
no.
You know, so I didn't know much about him. I knew the hype, I knew his name, I knew his reputation to some degree. So I didn't really know what I was getting, if you know what I mean, or what we was getting. I could only go by other people's opinions, which were far more learned than mine, because they may have watched him a bit more. But look, I just think now he needs to, all the players now, whether they've been there 5 minutes or 4 seasons, they all need now to buckle down and just do what they do best. And by playing them in their natural position, gives them half a chance to shine.
And also, John, take a leaf out of Benny's book, because if it is the manager's game plan, if it's him that's not motivating them, I think it's time for the players to step up. And because you know as a player, if you as a player know what needs to be done. So I think it's down to them now. You know, fucking just go and get a result for the fans. You know, and if you've got to be a naughty boy and not do exactly what you've been told, then that's what you've got to do. I'm afraid, because what we've been doing hasn't been working.
It's not even doing it for the fans, Nick. It's also, look, we're not in dire straits yet, and the reason we're not in dire straits yet is because it's still fairly tight. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, no. We're 3 games away from being in dire straits if they go wrong.
Yes, agreed. Or we're 3 games away from pulling out of it to some extent.
Yeah, we are.
However, these players now need to take a long, hard look at themselves and go, well, what's going on with me? A lot of them have had a nice time, whether they went to the World Cup or not. Most of our players didn't play a lot in the World Cup, apart from Aguirre and Paqueta to some extent.
I thought Areola was fantastic, didn't you?
Yeah, Areola was brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I just think now they need to do it for themselves, because they're ultimately the ones that will make or break the season, no? The players on the pitch.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think at this point, it's gonna. We just need someone to step up, and if they don't,
no, we need more than someone to step up. We need
especially against Arsenal, But I think if we, what I want to see, from West Ham is at the very least a good performance, because what that does is that gives us something to take into the Brentford game. That what we don't, and I ain't even talking about the scoreline, because I would take a 4-0 defeat if we played brilliantly. I would, John. You're saying I would.
You can't lose 4-0 and play brilliantly.
But of course you can. Of course you can. Leeds do it all the time. You,
No, they lose 4-3.
yeah, but what I'm saying is you can play well. You can have, or at least if we're trying to see something different, or he's tried something different, it will. I don't know. Play with less fear. I want to
Yeah,
see
but
I want to see Moyes play with less fear. We've been playing with fear all season.
But Nick, the thing is here is this: the longer you're in this relegation battle that we say we're in, the more the points become more important.
I say we're in.
No, that we all say. Look, we are on paper in a relegation battle. I get that.
Yeah.
The table don't lie. But what I'm saying is the longer you're in it,
Yeah.
the more the points mean, and there starts to become the scenario of points over performance.
Yeah, but in a game like this,
I'm not saying it's the right way to be.
Listen, in a game against Arsenal where you're not really expected to win, you're not expected to win it. You're away from home. I think you've got to try. Listen, try something different. The other thing that we haven't spoken about yet, and we will get back to finishing the team, by the way, is his record away at these teams. This will be his 70th attempt in 20 years at winning an away game in the league against either Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, or Liverpool, and he's never done it in 69 attempts. This will be if this is his last chance on Boxing Day to basically crush the 20-year thing. Because if it goes wrong, then he will have not beaten any of those teams in 20 years. So it's so what I'm saying is surely David Moyes has got to look at that and think it hasn't worked all the other times I've done it. You know, maybe I've got to try something different.
It's not even Moyes' performance against top six. It's our performance against Arsenal in the Premier League. I think we've beat them 8 times in the Premier League era in about 40 odd games. So we don't have a great record against Arsenal for whatever the reasons are, I don't know. But when I look at the Arsenal team, they're not a team with any superstars. They're just a team full of good quality, hard-working players now.
Yeah.
They don't have the Henrys and the Petits and the Vieiras.
No.
You know, they've got players that are, yes, possibly on the up. And if you think about it, Jesus and the other geezer they got from City, what's his name? Zinchenko.
Yeah, he's out. Zinchenko's he's not available.
Yeah. He's not available.
No.
Okay, there you go. But them two are their main players. Them two are their big name players, are they not?
They are, although Zinchenko hasn't been playing because they've been playing. They've not been using him actually. They've been playing.
They're their big name signings, wasn't
they? Yeah. Oh, they were. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and maybe to some extent Odegaard they got him from Real Madrid.
Yeah,
but they're not a team of superstars anymore. They're not.
No, they're a. Well, I think
Arteta's got them all bought into something, hasn't he?
He's been brilliant, and I don't think many of us probably would have called that after, you know, and it makes me laugh when some people make the comparison to David Moyes and they say, look, Arsenal stuck with Arteta, but the thing is, Arteta is a visionary. He has a way of playing. He clearly had a plan. I don't think you can compare the two. You can't, and that isn't me completely dismissing David Moyes.
No.
But what were your thoughts? Just before we go on, what were your thoughts?
Interestingly, though, you've got to remember Arteta used to play under David Moyes.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I'm sure it's all that influence. It's all that influence that done it.
Well, you laugh, but you know.
I know.
Well, what are you saying? What was what?
What did you think about him not giving Mabama any minutes in this situation where we had Antonio injured against Fulham, Scamacca going off after 12 minutes? You had Mabama on the bench. And what were your thoughts on that? Do you not think maybe in a friendly and he brought Downs on instead? And he shuffled the pack. Wouldn't you have liked to have seen maybe Mabama thrown on, given some minutes? He might have had a good game. Might have got a goal, got some confidence.
Yeah, but I think, look, I know I ain't been on for a couple of weeks, and I've seen a lot of the shows and that, and a lot of people talking about youth and the lack of opportunities given for youth, etc., etc. But I'd like to just look at the Premier League across the board here and say not many teams give youth chances anymore. It doesn't seem to happen like it used to in the old days. And there's a lot to be said for the fact that most of the youth players who we've lost, in my opinion, like Ngakia, who's the one who went to West Brom in the end and we was up in arms, weren't we? And Noble had a big interview saying we shouldn't let players like him go and all that. Not many of them have gone on to do much. That's all I would say, right? However, you can't just blame Moyes for it. The thing is because we've had such a small squad and because we've had opportunities where we should have been using the youth, Moyes has been found out in not using the youth, not using the youth.
Yeah.
But it's not commonplace anymore for many clubs to have youth players or give them even much of a chance. I don't know what the percentages are anymore, but I think it's definitely getting less and less.
We've got here. What's this here? So English Premier League academy squad. So earlier on, Gary did a show on the.
I haven't watched it yet.
On the academy, but somebody commented. Who was it who commented? Eddie Martin at Gmail. It was really good. He basically said, "Look, I wrote to the FA about football in 2016. Usual bland reply. It included a piece on academies, and then I won't read the whole thing out. But what he's done is he's listed the Premier League team.
Is this underneath the comments on the show? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a really good one. And he's listed the teams and the amount of academy players in each team. And he's gone. Arsenal have got 2 players. Aston Villa have got 4. Burnley. This must have been at the time when he wrote it. Burnley had 0. Chelsea 1. Palace 1. Everton 3. Leicester 3. Liverpool 2. Man U 1. Man United 4. Newcastle had 5. Southampton had 2. Spurs had 3.
This is in the matchday squad, yeah? This is in the first team squad.
Yeah. West Brom 1. There were a couple. So you had Stoke City had none. Queen's Park Rangers had none. Hull City had none. Burnley had none. But the rest of them all had a couple. So,
right, but that proves my point to some extent, though. And I'm not dismissing.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm reading out to back your point up.
But it's a great. I'll have a look at it later. But look, David Moyes is as guilty as all of them, but he's not the only one. But the problem is that we've had opportunities to use some of these in more often than not games, and he's not using them. We've been short. We've had a small squad. Give him a go. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's another thing that Moyes does. It's almost like he wants to hang himself, you know. But
I mean, the big one that we've spoken about on several shows now was the Chelsea game last year when we had all the centre backs out and we played Soufal and Cresswell at centre back and we had Elise on the bench. Yeah. That was, in a sense, imagine if you are Elise sitting on that bench at that point. You're going to be thinking, you're having a great season in the under 23s. Yeah. You're getting a bit older. You're a very big character. You must have been sitting there thinking, this is my chance. I'm gonna finally get my game. And if you don't get played, then what are you going to think?
Yeah, but the only I get that, but he hasn't exactly moved. I know Sunderland are a big club, but he's had to take a step down in terms of where they are in the league pyramid to hopefully come back up, and most of them will do that.
Yeah,
Ashby to me seems like the only one who, if Newcastle want him, there must be something there, because Newcastle can tomorrow go and buy any right back in the world almost to some extent.
Yeah,
you know, with the money they've got available. And the fact that Eddie Howe seems, or whoever, the recruitment officer up there, seems so keen on Ashby, that's interesting to me because, you know, I've had my opinion. I often think some of these kids, they get agents far too young. And you know, we've heard stories about it being about money and him turning down wages. But then I have heard to the contrary that apparently Newcastle giving him less wages.
He's going there on less money.
Yeah,
his
which
dad's
seems very odd.
Well, his dad's but that shows you. You know, you've got if you haven't got a path through, it's like basically going to at West Ham. He's not been getting a chance in front of Johnson, Soufal, and now we've got Kehrer. So there's 3 in front of him. Yeah. If he goes to Newcastle, he's obviously been sold it by Eddie Howe. He's going to be the understudy to England's right back. And that's it. He's the understudy. He's the next in line. He'll get cup games. He'll get time when, you know, if Trippier does get injured, you know, he'll get banned. He'll get books. He'll get chances. And Eddie Howe he does use the youth, doesn't he? So I can't blame the player. I can't blame the player at all for doing it. But look, anyway, let's get back to the team. So I said in central midfield, I said Downs a 4-3-3, Downs in the middle, Paqueta right. Rice left of the 3. What do you say to that? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, no, that's what I'd like to see.
And what do you think's going to? What do you think we're going to see? I want you to say it. Go on.
No, I just think Soucek's going to be and look, I don't like digging players out. I'm not going to get personal. I'm
not digging him out. I just don't think he should be playing. I just don't think he should be playing.
If it's the same old, then I don't really know where we go from here.
I know. But the thing is, he has got options there in the middle. You've got 4 nails you can play in the middle as well if you don't want to play down.
That all season, Nick,
you got so many. You got Lanzini who's been playing all right. He's been playing all right in the pre-season. You got him there and all.
Playing all right.
Eh?
Where have you been seeing him playing all right?
Oh, Lanzini, he's played in a few pre-season games. He's looked all right.
Oh, Nick, don't class them as anything, for God's sake.
All right, okay, fair enough. Well, anyway,
Pre-season,
moving further forward because we're saying 4-3-3. So
well, then
up
it'd
front,
have to be Benny, Antonio, and Bowen, wouldn't it?
that's it. It's the only three in it, unless Antonio doesn't make it, which I think he will because he's been training. But let's just say, for argument's sake, Antonio pulls up, he's not playing. What do you do then?
Don't know.
Because we know Skamaka's not available, so Bowen obviously goes central, doesn't he?
Well, then you'd have to put Fornells on the right if he's playing there.
Fornells on the right.
That might be something. The reason he might have went on the right against Fulham is that Moyes might be looking for that alternative.
Yeah,
in case of. Look, wherever Fornells plays, he'll put a shift in, won't he?
He will, yeah, he will.
So that's the beauty of him. But I wonder when it comes a point when he'll start thinking, "Fucking hell, can I just play where I want to play?"
I know.
It's never going to happen for him, the poor sod, But
do you think there's any risk that we could see a team of Fabianski, Cresswell, Ogbonna, Dawson, Soufal, Soucek, Rice, Fornells, Benny, Antonio, Bowen, and for David Moyes to really revert back to the old guard?
Well, there is every chance because
do you think he could?
Well, because we've got so many injuries, so yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course it could happen. 100%. But, sometimes you might need the old guard to stick it up Arsenal and just give them a bit of a fucking elbow off the ball when no one's looking. We need to fight. We need to win this game.
Yeah, we do need to fight. We do need to fight.
If we just go down with a whimper and we don't lay a glove on them,
that's the thing. That's the thing. Just because they're a fucking good team this year, and just because we don't expect to win doesn't mean that we can't expect to have a go at them and make their life difficult. We should do that at least.
No,
we should do that at least. They're not prime Barcelona. But anyway, let's get onto the predictions because we've been going for an hour and it's only a midweeker, so we'll wrap this one up shortly. So let me know what you think. What's your prediction for the game, John? You never called a defeat.
I've never called a defeat. I can't ever do it. If you look at our record against Arsenal, it ain't great, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But there have been little glimmers of hope along the way, little chinks of hope against them along the way.
Do you want to do two predictions? Do you want to do a heart and a head prediction?
No, I will never back. I can never bet against them. You know how much I hate Arsenal because 90% of my family are from Holloway and Islington. They're all Arsenal, and I've had it for years in my year old. I think the break came at a wrong time for them and a good time for us technically because we was on a fucking downward spiral and they were flying, right? So the break could have opposite effects. Also, it's like the first game of the season again. You often get some surprises first game of the season. You get some freak results to some extent.
And they have pressure as well because they're under pressure to beat us because look, we're shit at the moment. They should be looking at this thinking we've got to win this.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 West Ham.
1-0 West Ham.
1-0 West Ham.
Goal scorer?
Antonio.
Nice one.
I'm
gonna go for 1-0. I'm going for a hard fall. I think we're gonna go 1-0 up, and I think they'll grab a goal back. That's what I think.
And that's a draw?
Oh, 100%. I would take a loss if we played well.
Oh, shut up.
No, John, I would. I'm not expecting to beat Arsenal.
What's the
point in that? Now, what I'm saying to you is I wouldn't be enraged and surprised if we lost to Arsenal.
No,
it's not going to be a massive shock, is it? If we lose to them.
No, not at all.
But so what I'm saying is what I said earlier on. The big game is the Brentford one. We need something to take into that game. So you either need points or you need a performance. You need something impressive to have happened in that game. So. Yeah, so for me, I'm going for a 1-0, and I think that'd be a good result. Either of them, win would be great, be amazing. But and that's not me saying getting me hopes up. That is me being positive, right? Okay, I'm being positive for the for that, and I do think we've got a chance. I'm not saying we haven't. Anything can happen in football. We've seen it before. Fucking Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool, didn't they? So anything can happen. So yeah, that's my prediction. 1-0. You're going 1-0. All right, everyone. Thank you very much, John. Do you want to close it up as you've not been on for a while?
Oh yeah, I forgot how to do this. For those of you who don't know me,
Subscribers and
I'm
stuff?
John, aka Virgil. I'm the good-looking one of the trio. I've had a little break, but I'm back. The guys have done all right, but let's be honest, you've missed me. If you like the show, then don't forget to hit the like button. If you like what we do, then please subscribe. We're nearly at 4,000 subscribers, I believe, Nick, which is doing very well. So well done to you and Gary over the last few weeks for carrying me in my cornet absence.
Yep.
But any comments, leave them under the show and we'll get back to you as well if you disagree, agree, or any opinions you might have. But as I said, hit the like button and subscribe if you ain't already done so. Thank you very much.
And come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
That's what I do. I win.